Okay, here's all my junk.
Sweet, thanks.
This is the Wild Rats record with all the final mixes.
Cool.
Finals here. The rest of the crap's in there if you need me to point out the mark.
Okay.
Talk whatever.
Cool. All right.
That was week of the rendezvous show.
Oh, he actually wrote that?
Take it down! I don't want it.
Any way you guys can sit a little closer together?
How wide a shot can you get?
Not very. That's perfect. That's
Well, that
perfect.
one with my name on it, just the thing that's on that Music Blitz.
Oh yeah, actually we got a copy of it over here.
Yeah, you already. That copy's probably mastered. Mine's unmastered.
Is it right? Would you rather play the master?
I've never heard it.
Okay, we'll throw it down there.
Give me Jocelyn Lane's number. Who is it? Miranda. Oh.
Jocelyn Lane's number?
Yeah. 995-4664.
Dr. Zane. Can I do the Dr. Zane's thing here? Dr. Zane's. You don't point a camera at his desk. Okay?
I don't. You're not in the frame, so chill out.
Cameras on.
Well, if I was feeling better, I'd join you, but I can't.
Good deal.
Gremlin's kicking my ass.
Oh no shit. You want one?
I've got some very old grape juice.
Alright. Change your mind, let me know.
Yeah, usually that's one of my favorites, yeah.
Yeah, I figured, yeah, I can remember one night, yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, oh, you kidding? Yeah. It's like, somebody punched me out. Sick all day.
Oh, shit.
There's some more too, eh?
So Ron, when are we going to get to see you play again when it's not a surprise like you're playing with Dinosaur Jr. and they didn't let you in?
I don't know. Oh, you didn't get to go in? Unless you want to go to Texas. Yeah.
No, in the hometown or Detroit.
I don't know. Someday.
If they come back here,
Some sunny day. I don't know. It's a good question.
John, does he need
come
his
jam with us
microphone
anytime you
pointed at him?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
No, not at all.
What do they call it? Yeah, just talk right into the mic because
Yep.
they're shitty mics.
I've been here before.
Oh yeah, you know.
There's also a weird version of that on that one of the Wild Rats things, where we just did all the Stooges songs.
Oh, yeah, right,
There's
right.
one CD they got some Mark Arm sings and they got some black jazz saxophonist that plays it a little off and makes it totally different and cool. It's great.
What does Steve McKay do now? What does Steve McKay or Mackay, what does he do now?
McKay?
Yeah.
The last time I heard from him, he was in San Francisco. He still plays. He put out a CD, which I have a copy of.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And he's an electrician.
Oh, sure.
In houses, putting wires in and stuff.
Yeah.
That was an awesome coat you had, man. With the pot leaves on the collar.
Oh,
It's fucking sweet.
you mean oak leaves?
Is that what they were? I thought they were pot leaves.
No,
they look like pot leaves.
it's SS group of yours, college hats. Yeah.
Really? Wow.
You mind if I ask you about that stuff too?
No, I don't care.
I mean, I know you're, you know.
Yeah, I just wore it for flash. I have many times.
Nazis suck, but they sure were fucking flashy. They did. I mean, what other army used the skull and crossbones, you know, besides some barbarian shit back in the day?
Yeah.
I mean, they were some scary motherfuckers.
Yeah, tank guys wore the skull and crossbones also.
Yeah.
Tanks and SS.
Wait, our tanker guys?
No,
No, they're
Germans,
tanks, yeah. Right.
Headphones on?
Yeah, makes it a little easier. It's not gonna fucking destroy it. Title track from, oh great, my headphones. Forget it. Going no headphones tonight. Are you guys getting that thing?
No.
You're lucky. Okay. Anyways, title track off of a pretty happening album there. Funhouse, 1970, released from a band called the Stooges. And tonight is a special treat to the citizens of the Holy Land of Rock and Roll. We're going to have Ron Asheton here talk with you for the next couple hours. Talk about Stooges and a lot of things he's done since the Stooges, like Destroy All Monsters, New Race, and the Wild Rats, to name a few. And
Hello.
We'll be talking here with him here.
Hello, John.
Right on. Right on.
Radio Land.
Right on. Right on. Just want to let you know you listen to WCBN FM Ann Arbor. My name is John Griffin, and thank you for listening this evening. And also, we've got a lot of people listening over the web as well. And if you need to know, get a better, clear signal, whatever, it's WCBN.org. And there's a listen-in thing there. And also, to people that are out there, if you want to call in, the number is 734-763-3500. And tonight, as I said before I get to this part here, I've done a lot of interviews over the years. Most of them have been with local musicians and stuff. And for me tonight, this is a big thing for me, because it's more than just a local musician, but it's a hero for me. And I hate to say it right in front of you, but it's true though. And I've been listening to this man's music for a long time, and it's had a profound change in my life. And really, it's an honor to have this evening Ron Asheton in the studio here. Really, it's great to have you here. So here we are. You know,
back at wonderful WCBN.
You've been down here many times.
Oh
before.
yeah, Destroy All Monsters days.
Right. Right.
Sitting in guest DJ, playing live actually also. Haven't been here in a while, but it's cool. It hasn't changed.
Right on, right on.
A little bit rattier, a little cooler.
Ann Arbor's changed a lot, though. You say?
Oh yeah.
What do you? How do you view that in a lot of sense? I mean, being
crowded, traffic jams, new ugly buildings.
Right.
It's changed a lot.
Right. And a lot of the energy's kind of different, I guess, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's still plenty of music. A lot of people playing.
There is.
Which is cool. There's always plenty of bands, good people, good musicians.
Right on.
Ann Arbor does keep on in that sense.
Yeah. There's something about this town too. You know, I'm not from here, from Massachusetts. I kind of just ended up here by accident.
Most people do.
Yeah, it's kind of funny like that. Yeah. And it's kind of, you know, that's the kind of charm about this town. Besides the fact it's got this good history, but even at any point in history, this town, it seems to be a pretty decent place.
Yep.
But so speaking of history, I want to give a little background first. I know that a lot of people may not be too familiar with you personally. A lot of people, a lot of times, hear a lot more about Iggy with the Stooges, but tonight we're gonna focus on Ron and who he is and where he came from. You started off your first musical influences were, as reading a lot of this is from an interview from Jason Gross, who I have to give credit to because there's a lot of great stuff on there. But you started off playing accordion. You had some relatives that were involved in vaudeville.
Yes, my great aunt Ruthie and Uncle Dick. They actually had a trained parakeet act, and he played piano, and she played the banjo and violin. And they used to put on shows for me. They were long retired, but good old Dick, the alcoholic, would sit at the piano still with his last parakeet, Petey, covered in bird crap, and play piano for me. Then Ruthie would come in, play some banjo, a little violin. So she gave me an old violin to start out with, because I used to just sit there while everyone else was in the backyard having the clam bake. But I just sit there and listen to Dick play and listen to the stories. And she gave me the old violin, and I used to scratch away on it till my mother took it away and turned it into a planter. And so she got me an accordion. So I started taking accordion lessons when I was 5.
What do you think it was about music that attracted you to it? I mean, obviously it's like when you're young, it's an endpoint.
Well, I always loved the singing cowboys when I was a kid. Roy Rogers and Gene Autry. So that sort of got me into it. I was always into movies. So here you got the singing cowboys, their shows with music, cowboy action and music.
Right.
So that's what really got me going. And once again, to actually hear live music, my aunt, great aunt and uncle actually playing, just the sound was fascinating to hear the live sound.
Right on. So eventually you moved on to guitar. Like how old were you when you started playing guitar?
10. I was still taking accordion, so I'd exchange one Saturday I do accordion, and the next Saturday guitar.
What kind of music like influenced you at the time to pick up guitar? I mean, obviously rock and roll was still pretty young.
I just liked all the classical, not classical music, but the standard contemporary music of the time, like Peggy Lee and all just Frank Sinatra.
Right.
My mother was way into music, so she had a really big record collection. She actually used to sing when she was younger. She actually sang on the radio, CKLW.
Yeah, I saw that in one of the interviews. What was no? She sang on the radio, CKLW.
Yeah, but that's of course before I was born. When she was a teenager.
Okay.
So she had a lot of music around the house. She had a great record collection. We always had a great stereo.
Is she support?
And I just listened to her too, and she'd have music on all the time. So I just, I was born to do this anyways. I guess you're supposed to. It's my destiny. So just having music around all the time, I just got in playing. All the kids were out playing softball or riding their bikes around. I'd mostly stay in the house and listen to music. So I got kicked out. Get out! You got to get out in the sunshine.
So you're playing guitar for a while. You're doing that thing, and eventually, you had this kind of thing where you wanted to just start. Or you decided you wanted to go to England to go see the Beatles?
Well, actually, yeah. What happened was I took lessons, and then I stopped for a while, and then that's what happened. Bob Dylan and the Beatles. I started listening to Bob Dylan, so I got out the old little Martin and would strum along and picked it up again.
Right.
And used to go to, which is really corny. I'd go to Herb David's. I'd be like 17 when he was on State Street, and I'd have my tweed jacket and my brown corduroys. I'd smoke my $2 pipe with a little cherry blend. 17-year-old kid just hanging out at Herb's pretending he's cool.
Right.
And I wound up, there was a folk club. It was called Bimbo's, I believe. It was a pizza parlor, and they had like Josh White Jr. They had nationally known or up-and-coming folk singers.
Where's Bimbo's at? Really?
It was in Washington or something. It was near here.
Okay.
It was just a pizza parlor. I can't remember, but you'd go, and there was, small cover, and we'd get a pizza, but go and drink like 12 cups of coffee and stay there the whole time. So that's what got me into music. Then, of course, seeing the Beatles totally got me geeked on it. So Dave Alexander and Dave wanted to go to England. So he goes, hey, I'm going to England. Would you like to go? I'm going, yeah, but I'm in high school, and just junior year, good student. So I did. My mom let me go, and I sold my motorcycle to get my ticket, and we took off, and that was no turning back after that. Once being there on your own at 17 in England, we thought we were going to see the Stones walking the streets.
Yeah, I heard like where's Ringo?
Of course, it wasn't like that. It was the heavy modern rocker time, and we were actually chastised by both sides. We were caught in a time warp. Dave looked like George Harrison style, and I was into Brian Jones, so we had long hair, and we didn't look like anybody, the rockers or the mods. So, but it was still a great experience to go and be away. And once I came back,
how long were you there for?
Just a month.
Yeah, really.
But that's all they would allow us to stay with the money we had.
Right.
But just that changed my whole life. There was no turning back.
Yeah.
Goodbye normal 9 to 5. Goodbye world.
So
freak here.
So I know you got thrown out of school venture from Pioneer High.
Well, I was the first to get expelled for long hair.
Wow, that's a good honor.
And I was called down to the principal's office, and he says, "You're a disrupting influence on the rest of the students." What? I've never gotten a fight. I'm a good student, and just the way I look, I'm disrupting the whole school.
Well, we share a common bond because I was thrown out of high school for a mohawk, so
yes!
cheers. And a Catholic school, no less. Right? Explains why I'm here today. So at the time, though, was there a lot of stuff that for kids your age to do? I mean, you're not old enough to really get into bars really as much yet. And musically, was there stuff to go do and that kind of thing? I mean, you mentioned bimbos, but...
Yeah, not really. You kind of made up stuff yourselves. We'd kind of go to... I got in a high school band while I was still in school, the Chosen Few.
Yeah, okay.
And that was with Scott Richardson, who went on to be in the SRC. So we played every weekend. So it was really cool to be that young and making almost, a couple $100 a week playing on weekends. So we were at a lot of fraternity parties. We did the TGIFs at the quads or wherever to do like 2 jobs a night, either in town, there or frat house, or go out to like Daniel's Den, some of the teen clubs in Birmingham. There's no liquor, but pop and chips and girls.
Dancing, yeah, right.
And cool because we looked like the Rolling Stones. And,
right.
But what was really fun is the fraternity parties, especially the Sammys, the Med House, because they'd set pictures of screwdrivers on our amps. So it's like, oh. By the end of the night, I was the only one. Somebody had to drive. So everybody else, my brother was the equipment man.
Oh, right.
He's out in the van in a puddle of puke. And, you know, I was the only one that was responsible. Everybody else is blasted.
Right.
But that was fun at the frat parties doing
Right
that.
on. Right
So
on.
that's what we did.
You also did a stint in the Prime Movers for a short time also, like by Michael Irwin. You want to talk about that a little bit? What was that like?
Yeah,
for?
that was cool. I knew Iggy, and just from school and in passing. I didn't really know him in school. I kind of met him more when we used to go to the Michigan Union cafeteria to hang out, even though we get kicked out sometimes 3-4 times in the afternoon. See your IDs, bing. But always just, you know, wait a half hour, come back.
Right.
So I knew Rick Higginbotham, who later went on and played with Commander Cody. I believe he played bass. So he goes, yeah, I got this cool job in the blues band with Iggy. It wasn't really Iggy back then.
Right.
It was Michael Irwin that coined. They called him Ignatius because of the iguanas.
Oh, okay.
So Michael Irwin gave him the name Iggy.
Oh, okay.
So I go, wait a minute, you can't play at all, and I can play a little bit. So Iggy goes, well, why don't you come and audition also? So I felt bad for my buddy because he just got the job, but I went and I got the job. They had me play. I could do just 1-4-5. I wasn't really that accomplished on bass, but they had me sing "Not Fade Away." And I think what clinched it for me is I sang "The Girl from Ipanema." And I went, what? They had the Prime Movers songbook. It was like 4 inches thick of just all these songs that they knew and could cover.
Right.
And I went, what? So they played it and I sang and I got the job.
Was that the kind of a new experience for you? Like I said, it was a little more professional.
Oh yeah,
right.
that I thanked them a lot because that was my total learning experience to play with professional musicians. They were pretty well accomplished, and every day after school I'd go and just practice my ass off until
I can say that word.
Okay, until the band practice later on.
Right.
And eventually they did find someone because they had to go on, and I really wasn't good enough.
Right.
So they found a guy named Jack Dawson that really fit in well because he was a good singer, great bass player. So they kept me on as roadie, and I got to play a couple tunes now and then at shows they did in town. And even I went to hang out with them when they were at a bar in Grand Rapids for a month. Every weekend their girlfriends would drive me up and get me drunk, and then I'd play tambourine and some bass.
There you go.
And
there you go.
It was that's how I learned. And then when Iggy wanted to learn the double shuffle, because they did the great Paul Butterfield Blues Band covers, and Sam Lay had that double shuffle, and I got to practice hours and hours with Jim Iggy, and that's how I actually learned how to play. And then the Chosen Few, I learned to play all my favorite Beatles and Stones, Yardbirds, Kinks songs in the high school cover band.
And also another thing about mentioning the Chosen Few, I read in that one interview with Jason Gross that you were also the first person to strike the first chord at the Grandy Ballroom in Detroit as well.
That's with the Chosen Few. The very first was G. Holland, who was the assistant manager and Discount Records, and he was the manager of the Rationals. He gave us this English EP, and it was the Stones doing that Everybody Needs Somebody, Pain in My Heart, and Route 66. And that was our big opener, man. That's 3 right in a row, stripped down tunes. So I did the first Bill Wyman. So that, you know, I never thought about it at the time, but that was cool. We opened up for the MC5.
Right on.
And that's how I met the MC5.
Right on. You mentioned also the Rationals. I heard another interview that I guess another experience for if you want to get into rock and roll, seeing the Rationals play at Pioneer one time. Do you recollect what I'm talking about?
I was in a jug band with Bill Kirchen, and he goes, well, we need a harmonica player. And I go, oh, gee, I can play. So I went home that night and practiced all night. And I go, oh, I can play, yeah. I got the job in the band, so we were waiting to audition for the talent show, and before us was the Rationals, and I really hadn't heard of them, and I didn't know them. My brother went to school with Scott, I believe, and when they played, I was totally blown away, because here's 15-year-old guys that are playing as well or better than the guys that wrote the songs. Great Beatle covers. They did one of my favorite songs, For Your Love by the Yardbirds. I was totally blown away. I'm going, oh man, there's no way we're going to get on the talent show. But of course, we did, because there wasn't much talent out there. And I had to get to know those guys.
Yeah, Scott Morgan's a great guy.
And
yeah.
my brother knew his brother, and his brother had a spare drum
Dave Morgan.
set. So we started borrowing the drum set and stuff, and that's how I got to know Scott Morgan. I was, 15 years old. Jesus, I mean, those guys, they were a great band.
Right,
And if they hadn't have gotten pimped by Aretha Franklin, they had their Cameo Parkway respect, and they were going national, and then she came out with it, and they sort of lost that edge on that tune. But what a great band. And I'm sure Scott's been down here.
Oh yeah,
many
yeah. In
times.
fact, actually, Scott will be probably stopped down here a little later on. He's doing a little band practice.
What's that?
This guy right now? Oh, that's Scott on the phone as we speak, actually.
We're talking about you.
Yeah, there he is. So let's jump a little jump ahead here since we've got a little formation, like we've got a little idea like musical history on you. When you came back from England, you decided at one point before you did the Chosen Few and the Prime Movers stuff that you wanted to you and your brother and Dave Alexander all wanted to form a band, and it kind of started off kind of slow at first.
Yes. No, that was what we did. We basically just played in Dave's bedroom.
Right.
We'd put on records. We liked The Bells of Rhythmy by the Byrds, and She's About a Mover by the Sir Douglas Quintet. And we'd play along with those tunes. We had the stereo. He had a great stereo back then, the top of the line.
Right.
And just blast them. We're going, yeah, man, we're great. Then just try it without it. And of course, nobody could play at all. We're going, we need Bill Cheatham. So we got Bill Cheatham in there on rhythm guitar. It was even worse. So we really didn't. We just sort of plugged along, and that's how we kind of eked our way along. We never really played a show or anything, but we were a very popular band in Ann Arbor, even though we never played.
Yeah, what were you called?
The Dirty Shames.
The Dirty Shames, okay.
And that's the core, and that's how we became friends, and that's how I really became friends with Dave. Because my brother had met we moved into the subdivision, and we'd see this guy going down the road in a 67 Impala, or it was a 65, even 80 miles an hour, and it's this wild, crazy guy. And finally he stopped, and we talked to him. He lives down the street, and that became a great friendship until he died. So we were the core, and then somehow Iggy came aboard.
So how did that all come together? I know you obviously all knew each other.
It was pretty much from Iggy called me up and said, he got me the job in the Chosen Few, actually. He was working at Discount Records, and Scott Richardson came in, and he said, there's a guy down here that seems pretty cool that's looking for a bass player. So I hung out with Scott all afternoon, and I wound up going back to Birmingham, Michigan with him the next day. And that's how, just me dragging along Dave and my brother and seeing Iggy, we became friends. Because they were my buddies, and Dave had a car. So that's how
it works.
That's how we all hooked up.
Right. So you guys started started jamming, and you got the thing together. Like,
Well,
how did it start
actually, Iggy quit the Prime Movers, and he went to live in Chicago because he was friends with Sam Lay. Iggy wanted to be a blues drummer for real. So Sam took him under his wing and protected him. Took him in all the hardcore clubs, where he was probably the only white kid in there. And it wasn't Big Sam and the 45 shoulder holster. Watch his white bud. He could have been in trouble, but finally Jim called up, and he had enough. He realized it really wasn't what he was going to want to do. So he called up and said, hey, why don't you guys come to Chicago and pick me up? And
Dave's car.
Well, actually, we went with this woman called Vivian, who was the bass player in a band called the Charging Rhinoceros of Soul.
Oh, who was with Steve McKay, who was the leader in Funhouse, right? Okay.
And we picked him up and brought it, and he said, I want to start a band with you guys. We want to do something totally different, out of context, with just regular music, not like the Stones or the Beatles. So we got together and just started. He got a Farfisa organ, and we started jamming in my basement with just weird sounds, like my bass with fuzz tone and wah-wah pedal. Excuse me.
Why do you think you went in that direction? Because I mean, at the time, obviously, a lot of people are like, maybe like, want to shoot towards like this Beatles thing or Stones thing, like you're saying, or maybe like kind of go in different directions. But like, I mean, a lot of the stuff you're talking about was, besides the fact it was ahead of its time, was also not really very. There wasn't anything really around you could identify with.
Well,
could you?
It's because of the Who doing things like Happy Jack, them talking about rock opera. and that's kind of what got us really excited. Wow, a rock and roll opera. And we loved The Who, and that's before Tommy, but they had that song Happy Jack, which was such a strange, cool song. So we just started putting together just pieces of music, riffs. Iggy would sit down at the far feast and come up with a simple kind of thing. I'd follow with a wah-wah and fuzz tone bass, and get some brothers some kind of percussion thing going, a modified Bo Diddley beat or conga beat, and just have it go into different segments. All of a sudden shift gears and then go into a different piece of music. So we worked up this hour-long piece of music called The Razor's Edge, and we never really performed it, other than the one time we first played that Halloween show, which was our first time we ever played. The MC5 were there. It was just a little party at our manager's house.
Where is this here?
This was here in Ann Arbor, just at his house.
Do you remember where it was?
The house was on State Street. It's the Gelman, the oil company. Isn't it Gelman right on there on State Street? Okay. Before Briarwood. Now it's
I see.
The front of the house is a teeny house. Is still there, but they've added a bunch of other things on, and it's like some architectural design company or something. But
so you played
eventually it went from that to the Grandy shows, where we really learned to play, where we made up our own instruments, and finally that's when Dave really got in the band. Other than Dave just taking the custom amp and crashing the head to get that good reverb, crazy sound. He played all the weird percussion, the vacuum cleaner with the microphone. So I said, well, I'm going to play guitar, Dave play bass. So we kind of naturally gravitated to the format that the Stooges became on the first record.
What do you think drove you to do that? Because at certain points in time, it's naturally been a sort of anomaly that exists, where people just all of a sudden, like, they don't even know exactly how, like, the history's gone, but they just naturally just kind of just like created some racket. What do you think it was that just made you at that time, and when everybody else is like, you know, hippieing out and stuff? What made you want to go crazy?
Because we were.
Good answer. Survey says. Right on. Right on. So you're doing the shows, and you're playing a lot with the Five and stuff, and eventually you get this offer.
That's how we really learned to play.
Right.
Russ Gibb loved us. We were the freaks of the Grandy.
Right.
So we get all, great lineup, have us do our freak show, and the MC5 do their high energy rock show. So we just played. We actually learned to play our instruments by playing shows. We got better and better, and then the rest of the tale is
of course.
We got signed by Electric as the MC5 was signed, and Danny Field saw us at the Michigan Union Ballroom. And they go, well, we were still doing freeform pieces of music, like start a riff, and we were playing for 15, 20 minutes, half hour.
I've actually got a piece of that show right here. I'm going to play right now. Actually, this is What You're Gonna Do. Do you remember this at all? Was this just like that might not be actually the actual title, but does that ring a bell at all to you at all?
What is it?
It was off some CD. There was like a 3 mini disc set. I don't even know where it came from, but I taped it off something a long time ago. Well, you'll hear what it is. This is the show that the Stooges played on September 22nd, 1968.
Yikes!
The infamous signing for Electric Records, and this is it's what it's called. What You're Gonna Do, I guess. Well, that's what they call it.
Titles changed all the time.
Of course, right. It was like some kind of like weird, like 3 CD set.
Johnny. No, he came back.
I know one right now. I'm gonna radio show.
slide this way or get your arguments.
It doesn't sound like it.
The CD says that it was you guys in the 22nd in the Union Ballroom. It was like some kind of like some weird like French, real small 3 CD set where one of them is an interview on CBN, and then there's like some stuff from the whiskey, and then there's this track right here. I don't know.
It's not on Revenge.
It might be, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. But they swear that's what they said. They had other pictures. Like they had some picture of Iggy hanging on a Nickers Arcade on the cover. So I figured they might.
Well, yeah, I gave them those pictures.
Right. So that might be a revenge thing. Right. Right.
They got those pictures ready.
Right. I don't know what it is.
Does it sound like Dave's style, or is that Dave is more
Really? Okay, so we got
rip off.
We gotta knock this one out of the water then. Okay.
Well, you might not remember.
My friend Preston wanted me to ask.
Preston.
Yeah, I'm in a band with a guy. He wanted me to ask you about your influences with jazz and J.J. Cale and stuff like that.
Well, it was like John Sinclair that got me into John Coltrane. He had all the great collection of my favorite.
You answered the first question he asked about the harmonica, so if you can bring that up sometime during the interview, because he's listening to it tonight.
I was wondering about Blue Cheer.
Well, we saw them with the Grand. It was like
They're my favorite band. One of my favorite bands.
well, just a big sound.
Does that influence you guys to get the Marshall?
Oh yeah, well, it was actually that.
I couldn't tell because I've never heard of any of this.
It's all the English guys.
The CD. Let's get at it.
That's the thing. Me and my roommate were just having an argument about this heavy metal. How you claim this English? They claim like heavy metal. Like this sounds heavy normally.
Yeah.
And I was saying it was more Blue Cheer.
Well, they were. Yeah, it was more. I was 5 too.
And the 5 too,
yeah. It doesn't sound like your Dave's player.
It sounds very tight.
This is the up.
It's about to
You think it's the up?
Could be the up.
Think it's what it is? It could be. Did the up play that night? Did they open the
Well,
show?
the guitar sounds more like the other guys.
I'm just wondering why this didn't make the first album.
And they start, you know, it's just like a jam or something like that. You guys start jamming on something or whatever, like an ad lib thing.
It just didn't sound like.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, this part sounds more. It's hard to tell.
I'll give you.
That doesn't. I don't. It doesn't sound like Dave's style of playing.
I'll give you a copy of this show and stuff, and that we there's only one song on this tape, unfortunately.
It almost sounds like you playing bass.
Yeah.
Like on Head On and stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess we're having a little bit of a dispute.
What was that?
We're not really sure that was even the Stooges for that, as it turns out. As far as I know, that came off of a bootleg that I believe was French in origin. We're thinking it might be Revenge. We're not 100%, so we're not going to do that. But you're not sure if that's actually the Stooges then? Huh?
Yeah, I know. It doesn't sound like Iggy. And it doesn't sound like Dave's bass style, but then sometimes it does. The drums sometimes. I don't know what.
We'll have to send it to the labs.
Yeah, it has to.
Check the DNA on that stuff.
I have to send it to the FBI.
Okay, I'm pretty sure everything else is kosher though. So let's hope on that one.
Well, it's interesting though.
Right on.
It sounds like it came from the Michigan Union Ballroom.
The echoing.
Yeah.
What was it like playing at the ballroom? I know I've seen the video that.
It was always fun because it was a happening.
Right.
It was always everyone showed up.
Right.
It was a guaranteed good show. Everyone had a good time.
It's a damn shame that the kids aren't putting shows on there now, too.
And it was a fun place, yes. And it was, back then, people really got behind it. Mm-hmm. And it always filled the place. I mean, whoever played, it was always a good time. The only weird thing was, like, they were pretty good about, no one got rowdy and there was never fights. Of course, you couldn't have alcohol or tobacco, marijuana, but people would find ways to walk around and keep moving. So you just got to keep moving.
Right on.
and never get tagged, and no one started any trouble,
Mhm.
and or messed the place up. So it was cool.
Mm.
I even stayed sometimes to clean up afterwards, just hang out.
All right.
That's
There
how
you
much
go.
people were into using the place.
True humanitarian. Right on. That's what I like. So we talked about we had the signing there at Letra. You went to New York and worked with John Cale to do the first album. Now, what kind of experience was that? 'Cause had you recorded this
No.
at this point?
I'd never been in the recording studio.
Uh-huh.
It was really fun. Woohoo, we're in New
Yeah.
York. We're in New York. And
Uh-huh.
we're
Kind of a field trip with you guys?
Yeah, well, I'd been a couple times before,
Right.
like literally going with my brother and a band full of people.
Right.
I had $20, and I go, oh, brother doesn't have any money, so here's $10 for you, 10 for me, and just live on Orange
True
Julius,
humanitarian.
and everyone sleep on the floor of the Earl Hotel with cockroaches running over our faces.
Oh man.
So yeah, it was fun going to New York. We actually, what a dream! It happened so fast. Here we are.
Right.
Young guys who were signed by a record company that the Doors are on.
Right. So that must have been kind of a thing for you guys too. 'Cause I know you guys are big Doors
And we
fans.
never recorded. And well, John Cale, Velvet Underground, cool. We knew some about them and liked the stuff.
Right.
And it was his first job as a staff producer.
Uh-huh.
So
And you guys at this time also were living. No, this is when you were living on Forest Court. Is that correct?
no, that was just our summer sublet.
That was the summer sublet. Oh, so you just lived there for a short time.
Yeah,
in '67.
we were sort of in between. I think we had just moved into what became known as Stooge Hall, that was on Packard.
Okay. Right.
The great old farmhouse that was
Right.
subdivided into apartments.
Uh-huh.
Fantastic, perfect. Even bands today. I mean, I wish I lived there today.
Right.
It was such a huge, great, fantastic house.
Uh-huh.
There was nothing there at the time, so
Uh-huh.
we could get away, except for one neighbor would always call the cops on us. But we went to New York, and that's how we worked up the tunes. We told Elektra, they said, well, do you have any songs?
Uh-huh.
And we go, oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah, right.
So basically, I just started kicking out riffs and pieces, and Iggy and myself put together those tunes.
So you didn't
He wrote
actually.
the lyrics.
Did you actually
Well,
have
we
any
had no
tunes?
songs.
There were no songs at the
We
time.
got signed with no tunes.
Wow, that's amazing.
We were just doing that jam. We were
Uh-huh.
just doing that half an hour piece of music.
Uh-huh.
Oh, sure, we got tunes.
So how did
We had a couple weeks, so we put the tunes together.
So how did you go from I mean, obviously the pressure was on, you had to write tunes for the record, but how did you, I mean, that's a lot of pressure to write such an album that's such a classic.
Hey, we work
still.
best under pressure.
You know?
I love it.
Right.
Pressure,
Right.
always. Just about everything I've ever written, even when I did the Wild Rat stuff. Oh, gee, we're making the record in 1 week. I better write some tunes. So
Right on.
we just work well under pressure.
Uh-huh.
And when you're young and crazed, anything's possible.
Why do you think the record, still stood around for so long? I mean, it's been obviously a major influence on a lot of people, and still, I mean, it beats the half the records that are out there now. What do you think of this
It's
about
simple. It tells a simple truth. It's like pure form of rock and roll or early punk.
Mm-hmm.
It just speaks to that young mind, rebellious mind, and the music just, it conveys as I played. I mean, that's what I felt. You can feel the soul and the truth in the playing.
Mm-hmm.
It's honest. I can't really play.
Purity.
I'm forcing out what's in me
Mm.
into my instrument, even though I don't know what I'm doing,
Mhm.
but I'm making this sound come out.
Mhm.
And I think that's why it stands up, because it's an honest bunch of music.
There's one great song that's on here. Obviously, it's No Fun. I've seen a documentary about how you guys wrote that. It's kind of, suppose it was based off of Johnny Cash's Walk the Line. Is that true or is that not true? Is that fake?
Of course it is. It's one of Iggy's straight.
Ah!
Oh, and it was first from Johnny Cash's. I came up with the riff.
Okay.
I wrote the music.
Uh-huh.
It's either, that's one of his things. It comes from Johnny. Every Stooges song came from Johnny Cash, I Walk the Line, or Ring of Fire. And the other one, and then I've heard this one too, all those songs from that first album came from a walk I took in Detroit, where the factories, the machines are going. It's the factories. He just makes up stuff to interest his audience, to
Right.
keep. He's told
The myth
so many
going. Sure.
fibs that he can't keep some of his stuff together. So people buy it, but that's not true. We just
Really?
created it. It was just sitting here at the, being stoned
Right.
and sitting in the band house and being a band and hanging out together and just playing, coming up with riffs, and then going, "Hey Jim," or he'd hear me playing and he'd go, "I like that." Well, he'll listen to it and make a tape and write something for it. But all the titles were things that we actually said also, like "No Fun" or "She's Not Right" or "We'll Have a Real Cool Time."
So it's all just there, yeah.
Yeah, part of our
Right.
band lingo, and he was smart enough to just take that stuff and turn it into lyrics.
Right on.
Because that was pretty much we were living those lyrics.
Right on.
And we were a band in the days when we always did almost everything together.
Right.
It was rare that you didn't hang out with your dudes, man.
Right on.
You did everything except for, take a dump and sleep,
Right.
or even then sometime, but not have sex, of course.
Sure.
Or share your girlfriends. That
Right.
was something that didn't really. But other than that, we were always together. We tripped together,
Right.
ate food together.
Right on.
We're coming down off acid.
And it's
We
sad
really
because a lot of people are driven apart. And everybody's so like driven apart. It's not like much of a community.
Yeah,
It's sad.
that's what's so different about Ann Arbor now is every band really would help each other. It wasn't like competition.
Right.
Yeah, those guys are cool. They want to borrow an amp? Yeah, okay. Or you get us on a show, and everyone really helped each other. It was us against the establishment. So you take care of your bros,
The way it should be. The way it should be. Let's hear some of the first album here. This is No Fun.
That's kind of depressing, man. It's
Yeah,
really
it's
not
different
different.
now. Yeah.
It's so dog eat dog.
Yeah,
It's like,
nowadays it's
wow.
competition,
It's sad on you.
and it was
Hey, there he is.
totally different.
Hey, John, can you find that for me? Because I'm kind of
sure,
freaking
man.
about
Hold on.
that.
Yeah, I got that.
So if you have a space thing, maybe I should just like pop in for a minute and then take off.
Yeah, we take a minute.
Hey Scott, have you thought more about playing a show at the Pig? Doing that show at the Pig?
I just talked to Jason and we're trying to do dates in April.
That's when we wanted to do it.
I know, but he doesn't have anything available when we have it available.
It's not.
So it may be May. I want to talk. I'll talk
Let's
to him
shoot for
tomorrow.
May, dude. We'll open for you guys and stuff.
Well, we're supposed to do it with the Demolition Doll Rods.
Oh, really?
You guys could be the third band.
So how are you? Feeling better.
You guys were great, man.
Oh, I had a great time. Except for my ear is still recovering. Well, this ear was like somebody just, I had water in it. Because I had my head turned between Watt and Last and me right there. Oh yeah, it was fun. So I'm looking forward to going down to Texas. That'll be cool.
That's great.
Hey, Scott, can I get a picture? Ron, can I get a picture of you and Scott?
Yeah, sure. Okay.
No,
That's cool.
Get a layer off here.
I was just talking about you. This guy was one of my big influences. I told him about the.
John?
I told him about.
No, I can't.
The talent show at Pioneer.
Frank?
When I was in Bill Kurtz's jug band.
Tell him I'd love to talk about
You guys have played before us. There's no way.
Tell him that
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, he was here not long ago.
I did Smoking in the Boys.
I don't know where it is. Well, I guess I'm
And then I went up and saw the around.
Yeah, I missed it all.
We saw him in New York. We were, Maria and I were, she's living in New York.
Yeah, no.
We went down, he was playing at CMJ, at the rodeo bar. Okay. We went down and saw him.
He doesn't still play with Rick Higginbotham.
No, but Rick was at the,
Rick was one of my best friends.
Commander Cody's.
Here in town?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got
Can I get a
Rick's
picture?
email.
He's in town now?
No, he's in Virginia, but I can get his email.
Yeah, because he was my
Yeah,
because he was my good high school buddy, and we used to do.
I've heard all this. I've heard all
like Ray
Actually, there's another one. I've heard of.
We used to be like
He's in my homeroom.
the fake Beatles too.
Can you get a picture?
And he's the one. He had the job with Brian Hoopers before I took it. It was bass player.
Of course.
He only had it for like 2 days.
Can I get a photo with you guys? Do you mind?
No, I don't mind. He only had it for like 2 days over there.
So, do you have any access to email?
Oh, he was taking it.
Yeah.
I was looking at him. Give it back to me.
Yeah,
I was thought, well,
no problem. Okay, ready? Here we go, guys.
there you go.
Do you want contact information? Excuse me.
Yeah. Here we go. I mean, I just like to say hey to him because I thought
You want
about
one more phone, email, address?
Yeah.
Phone.
Yeah, that'd be cool. You know how to get it.
Fingers over the line. Should be cool. Let's pass on, man.
I used to do that. Moving on through the
My brother took pictures of
Stooges stuff. I go through to the end.
All right, enough. So you're supposed to do the pig show with the Demolition Doll Rods?
Hey, John, at least
But there'll be a third band.
For real.
Yeah, I know. Exactly.
But it looks like it's going to be May now.
Last I checked.
I got to call Jason. I just got a message from him saying
What's our studio
we,
players?
we gave him 3 dates that we could do in May,
That's actually
and he
you playing
said
this time, right?
Yes.
none of them are available.
We've got May completely open.
Yeah, I'm gonna be in Europe
In May or April?
in May.
Oh,
well,
okay.
at the end of April and part of May.
Oh, actually, we're supposed to go to Texas in May. That's right.
What's going on in Texas?
Well, you know, Chapstick just came back from Texas and stuff. I hooked up with their tour manager who books down there, and he's gonna try and hook us up with when Strut goes down there with Strut.
You guys have to see it.
We gotta get out of here, you know what I'm saying? We gotta start playing out of this fucking place. We don't have any connects. Nobody will hook us up. I mean, we're practically blacklisted in Detroit. I don't even know why. Just because we don't have the
bands are fucking
because we don't have the fucking hip fucking Value Village clothes, and we don't have the fucking haircuts. You know what I'm saying? That's what I've noticed.
Please people like that.
It's, like I said, hierarchy and dog eat dog shit.
5, 4, 2, 1. I can't hear myself anyways. Let me grab my headphones for. Okay. Stooges.
Dude.
No fun. There it is. And we got Ron Asheton down here this evening, guitar player from the Stooges, and many other great things. Scott Morgan, we were just talking about earlier.
Yeah.
He's popped in here and stuff. Scott Morgan, of course, he was in the Rational, Sonics, Rendezvous, and many other bands. And now you're doing a thing as well, a new thing coming out, and it's good to have both you guys down here, man. So.
Yeah, man, I'm staying busy.
Right on. So you guys
I'm staying at home.
you guys must have played some shows together at certain points too, in separate bands. With
Oh yeah, we played with Rationals and Stooges played together. We played the Birmingham Palladium.
You guys remember these gigs at all?
Well, I used to go ride with them sometimes when they did all the sock hops in Detroit.
Right.
And be terrified at Jeep Holland 95 miles an hour, 94.
Yeah.
And I almost took a ride home with him the night that he rolled the van off the express.
My brother
rolled
was
the
in-
van up the
my brother
express.
was in the van, yeah.
Oh no.
And no one was really hurt, and the equipment was banged up a
It's
bit.
amazing.
But I mean, he went off and the van went, and I was almost in it. I probably would have been the guy that got killed if I rode in the van.
Oh
I got
no.
Opened up like a sardine can,
Yeah.
man. It's like-
Really?
But I used to go see those guys all the time as the Rationals, and because of hanging out, I got to see like 13th Floor Elevator, Richard and the Young Lions. They played all those great shows. They had all those bands that had records out there were popular because they had respect.
What was it like for you guys playing in bands back in Ann Arbor? What was the scene like for you guys and all that sort of thing? You know, I mean, obviously you were saying before like how everybody's real supportive of each other and stuff. And what was
I
it?
just spoken about that.
Yeah.
Everyone's supportive and bands hanging out. It was the special club you hung out with.
There were a lot of like different like Space Jam shows, and was this when the concerts were starting to happen in the parks? And
The
stuff?
outdoor things, yeah.
Yeah, like I
First
mean,
West Park.
do you guys remember any of
Gallup
the
Park.
good a lot of those good concerts and stuff? Do you remember any particular stick out
Well,
in
what
your head?
sticks out for me is it was a hot day at West Park, and the MC5 were playing, and they talked me into taking some acid. So I did, and then it's so hot, and I'm kind of miserable. And then Dennis Thompson goes, here. He gave me a 16-ounce bottle of ice-cold Stroh's beer, and I discovered beer and acid, and it was just wonderful.
Good combo.
Cold beer on a hot summer day on acid, and all of a sudden, hey, I was in heaven. That's the one thing that sticks out for me a lot. About this.
Right.
They were fun. I mean, everyone was having a great time.
What was it like for you guys at the Granny Ballroom stuff? You guys all both like played some shows like the Granny Ballroom a lot and stuff. Like, what kind of scene was that for you guys? Obviously, that was like a lot of the lights and the sounds and stuff.
I started going after I played there. I would just go by myself every Friday and Saturday night. Just take the family car and drive there myself. Take a little hit of speed, maybe a little Dexoxin, and go and just listen to what was the band that had the song Time? No, it's on the tip of that thing.
Chambers Brothers.
Yeah,
there it is.
and they do like perfect speed, like an hour's version of Time, and just go in there to hang out. That was a cool place to wear your Flash clothes. You could either wear your hippie stuff or your English Beatle stuff, and it was Randy was home, so I always tried to go.
Right. So So after the.
What about him?
Yeah.
What about Grant? What do you think about
Yeah, come on, man. Get into this conversation.
Well, it's interesting that there's this MC5 movie, you know, it's coming out, and we went down like when they were first starting to make it, and actually went back to the Grandy, and there's holes in the ceiling now.
back?
Yeah, there was a big piece of plywood over the front door, you know, where you go up the stairs in the front, and some church owns it now, and they've just kind of let it go.
I heard
There's
that.
it's just completely abandoned. Holes in the ceiling. It rains, snows in. Holes in the floor.
And I'm holding a piece of it in my
John
hand.
has a piece in his hand of the Grandy Bell.
It was a beautiful place. My mother says she used to go dancing there
Right.
when she was younger.
The story that they always told us was that the big bands were louder than the bands with amplifiers.
That must have been something. It was a beautiful room.
Yeah, really. Yeah, it's sad. It's sad. I've only seen it since the, you know, the decadence of it all. But that was really like, I mean, where everybody hung out though. That was
It
really
was the
big
cool
thing.
spot. That's when I actually smoked marijuana with John Sinclair, Perry Bullard, the state representative, and a police lieutenant in uniform with gun. But in backstage of the Grandy, I'm with Sinclair and Perry Bullard, and we're smoking a joint, and all of a sudden, cop walks in. I went, oh no, and Sinclair just hands him the joint, and he's taking big tokes off him. I thought for sure, I'm going to jail with John Sinclair.
Right.
So the cop was smoking?
Yep, cop was walking down.
Gotta love the Detroit Police Department.
Yeah. So about this time, this is when all that crazy stuff was going on with the, you know, Sinclair's getting busted, the Panthers getting all crazy. Obviously, both of you guys were never really involved in, like, too heavily into politics. I mean, you're friends with these guys, but
No,
I mean, what was that whole scene like for you guys? It must have been kind of scary when all the FBI's creeping around your friend's house and stuff.
Well,
you know?
For me, it was cool, a place to go hang out, and it was cool. He was preaching good things, but when it got to anything about violence, that was like, no way, man. It's just a little too scary.
Even though there was
mostly going there for the chicks.
Right.
There were always women there, and
Right.
I'd always go and smoke drugs and talk to the band.
Right.
I like hanging out with Rob Tyner and
Right.
watching him draw cartoons. Even more than when the other guys are upstairs passing the rocket reducer around. I'd be downstairs watching Rob work on cartoons at his easel.
Wow.
And then they had great round table meetings, where actually it was a long table, like a knight's table, where you could sit like 30, 40 people. And they just talk every night.
For people that don't know, we're talking about the 1510 and 1520 Hill Street, which is now, I think, Luther Co-op and so that's
Stooges Wax
It's the
Museum.
Stooges Wax Museum. Yeah. And you have no clue how many people have come here looking for that.
And I've got calls, and some that lived there actually told me as recent as somebody I know knows somebody that lived there, and they were still getting mail as of like a couple years ago.
Sure.
And I've had people call up from Europe. People came from Europe to go
I've
to
heard
the
these
Stooges
stories.
Wax.
Yes, I know. Yeah, just give a little background for Motor Booty magazine at one point had published an article saying that there was a wax museum here in Ann Arbor at this house we're talking about. With photos, yeah, there was the actual jar of peanut butter from the Cincinnati Pop Festival show that smeared himself the wax figure, and if anybody's listening out there, don't come to Ann Arbor. It really doesn't exist. It's a bunch of kids living in the house, and they probably don't have anything good to smoke. But anyway,
Ain't no wax museum.
It was that. But the Ann Arbor back then though is it was real happening and stuff. But then you've got this real crazy environment of all this like real heavy politics stuff and a lot of violence going on in the streets and with the Southview riots and stuff like that.
Well, we lived right by. We were on Forest Court then. I was
really?
actually. It was just a walk around the corner
right.
of Forest Courthouse. And the first night it was cool. People just hanging out and stuff. But the next night when the police were ready, I'm going, this is ugly. I'm not going to. And then I was at the old Whistle Stop restaurant, and some dude started chucking bricks at the cops. So you just tear gas, and have you ever been, even not directly tear gas, but a good whiff of it, it's bad. So people were running to hide in our house. Whoa, no, wait a minute, come on, they're going to...
Or the cops chasing in your front door.
People were running down there, and they go, they're the Stooges, the guys that sell the dope living. Get out of here. But it was fun, though, like I said. It was us against them kind of feeling, and everyone was into helping each other and sharing. It was good. I wouldn't change time periods for anything. They were wonderful times.
Yeah, I mean, overall, the Stooges and the Rationals, neither were really very political, but everybody, was, everybody was opposed to the war. Everybody was into like all the new stuff.
And nobody want
like,
to get drafted and die. Yeah.
integration and drugs and the sex and I mean free love and everything that the hippies brought to the table like was cool. So we were political, but we weren't organized like that.
So about this time you guys started working on your second album. Just to jump into the next thing here, you started working on the Funhouse album. You started working on the material for that after doing a lot of touring this time.
Well, that we learned to play. They put us on the road after the first album, and we constantly played, and that's how we worked up that set in between. Have a little time off, come up with a piece of music, develop it, and that whole album was actually written while playing on the road mostly, and that was the concept that Don Gallucci wanted, was to capture that, which was cool because we were so well rehearsed. We actually came off touring and right in the studio, and there's the
the box set here, the box set that I've started pulling here. This is something I wanted to bring up with you, Don. It says on the box that you may not have really heard this or not, but the A side, whatever, the organ solo that's over down the street, whatever stuff.
Bad Edmonds.
How did you feel about that? Because obviously you guys were just you just put this really good record together, and also the company decides to come in and like.
We didn't know about it.
Organ.
I did not know about it till Ben Edmonds told me, because he had gotten an advanced copy of the box set on cassette tape.
Okay.
And he goes, "Well, what's up with that?" And I'm going, "We figured out." Well, I figured out they were trying to see what it would sound like if we were the heavy metal Doors or something, the punky Doors.
Was that a kind of annoying thing for you?
I thought it was funny. It was. I didn't even know about it until like last year.
But at the time though, did you feel like there was? Because I know there was like some mention in the box set that while you were recording Funhouse, there was a two-way mirror supposedly inside of the Doors.
Danny Sugarman told me that story. That
right.
Jim Morrison came in one night and checked out the band while we were re-recording.
Right.
So I always say when I tell the story, of course, we're standing at the mirror, looking at our hair, scratching whiteheads off our face, checking our nose for boogers and stuff. And he's supposedly Jim Morrison. That's what Sugarman said.
Right.
That he was there.
Well, let's hear this. This is a pretty strange mix of a single. It's kind of a little shorter. It was a single version of Down the Street with some organ part in it, maybe to make it a little more radio friendly or
Stooge
like
Doors,
that. Yeah. So here we go. This is off the Stooges Funhouse complete session box set on Rhino. That I don't think it's available anymore actually. But here we go.
They added that afterwards?
Yeah, I didn't even know about it till Ben Edmonds told me.
You told me
You never heard
that you heard later that Morrison said you walked like Poe did.
That weird?
Yeah, or something.
Something
Yeah.
like that, or Wyatt Earp, or-
Yeah, Wyatt Earp. It was Wyatt Earp.
That's crazy.
Yes, they were making a little bit more commercial friendly.
So you guys never knew about this back then?
Well, no.
Wow.
And I never knew about it until Ben Evans said, "You got to listen to this." I went to Royal Oak to pick it up.
No.
He goes, "I cued it. You got to listen to this first, just for the fun." He goes, "You won't believe how funny it is."
Wow, that's weird.
Did they ever release it back then? Okay.
Oh, the single was never released. I thought that was a single that was released.
No. But not that version.
Oh,
The single Down the Street was released, but
I thought that was the official release.
that with the organ.
Oh, okay. Actually, how did I hear it straight?
That is weird, isn't it?
Is that weird?
And who's playing that?
Ray Manzarek. I have. I think it could even be Don Gallucci, because Don Gallucci was a keyboardist. Don in the Good Times.
He did the keyboards. The guy did the piano for Louie Louie.
Yeah,
Don
in the Good Times. He was on that Dick Clark afternoon. I forgot the name of the show. They had like a half-hour music show.
Did you guys pick him?
Where the Good Times are, or something like that.
Did you guys pick him to produce it?
No.
That's the story I heard. Is because he did Louie Louie.
It's probably.
I don't know. Actually, you know, it might be
Not Manzarek.
No, he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't do it. We didn't even know him. I know him now, but he wouldn't do it. I just thought it was Gallucci because he plays keyboards.
But he didn't play on
Nothing to say.
No.
This is the obligatory air guitar part.
Nothing to say at all.
I'm sure it was probably Galucci.
So,
He produced it.
when you guys moved here from Davenport, it was really kind of cool because my dad grew up in Iowa.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he grew up in Rubio, which is a town like about, I don't know, 50 miles west of Davenport or something like that.
Yeah, lived there for 7 years.
I went and took pictures of the house.
You did? Yeah. I have to see him
I gave
sometime.
him to Scott.
Well, I already see Scott.
It's fading.
He's going to come
Yeah.
back in like a month.
Well, that was like,
I think we're coming back up.
It's okay.
20
No,
years
no, we're not coming up yet just yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
people were real nice. I'm going like, yeah, I know some people who used to live here. Like, he gave me the address and everything. So I took pictures of the house from outside and stuff.
Yeah! I'm so fucking stoked this computer's working. You're listening to WCBN FM Ann Arbor.
Just had some dead air there.
Yeah, well, we'll have for a second. That's okay here.
Is it going, John?
Turn off the mics.
Yeah, I know, Chief. Because the damn computer's not working.
Jeremy's going nuts. Do something.
Who?
Tell him to fucking take a dead walk with that. Different between. Something tells me I put the wrong fucking truck in there.
Yeah, I haven't even listened to all that stuff.
Yeah, there's one where he says that thing about doing 22 takes with Lewis.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Well, it's Mike Watt that likes it. He says he puts it on when he's typing on his computer. And then Tim, who lives with Dave from that Monster Magnet, he's his roommate, and he makes up special new editions of Funhouse records for friends every day. He gets bored and goes, well, I'm going to create different albums every day.
How are those guys? Are they cool? I love Monster
Yeah, I
Magnet.
talk to Phil every so often.
I got to hang out with them one time. They're fucking awesome.
Well,
I got all their records.
I'm supposed to play with them sometime if they ever come by, and then Dave and Phil want to do a project when this next thing is done going through the tour and stuff.
Is Phil the guitar player?
Yeah.
Yeah. They were bad. I saw them at the State Theater in Flint.
I have their records.
Yeah.
I've never seen them play. I've seen them on TV.
We were hanging out with them backstage, and like they were all signing autographs, and we were passing a joint, and the bass player took the joint and he tried to sign it. He's like, "You want me to sign this?" It was funny as fuck, dude.
Oh, obviously you don't need to smoke it.
Exactly. It was so funny.
Well, apparently those guys love their stuff. Phil told me they used to be big times, getting ripped all the time on everything. Just take anything and everything and go right.
Oh yeah. Well, they write. That's what Dave writes about. They rock. Dave's a good producer too. Like he produced a few of their records.
Yeah, I haven't talked to him. Tim says, well, he's afraid to talk to you right now. Well, that's cool.
Are you on their next record? Are you gonna be on the
No.
record? Oh, okay.
I offered when they were in Vancouver,
Right?
I talked to them, and they just didn't have time. They were so busy, and then they had to split. So it never happened.
You in Vancouver?
I've been there before, but I didn't go play with those guys.
It's a nice town.
Yeah, oh, I like it. I played there lots of times. Rock Power Times used to go there all the time. I always loved it.
Well, it's an ocean all the way.
Yeah.
Confident listening in. Oh. Dark's going to get through that. Just trying to email them from
Who's breaking stuff? Who's breaking stuff?
Mama.
Mama.
Breaking things left and right, up and down, all the time. Sitting on a sofa, she break that too.
So I'm gonna fucking.
So Scott, do you want to try working on Love and Learn next week? We had a serious band
I'm not
practice
gonna be here
yesterday. Oh, you're not? You're leaving?
You're going to see South by Southwest?
From New York.
trying to think.
I'm actually playing.
Asked me to ask you, I just can't think of it.
Yeah.
At the Magic Bag.
Hi to Vader.
On the 17th.
Vader?
Day it starts, or the day, Saturday.
England, that
Oh,
writes
okay.
me all the time.
I'd say happy birthday to my
He
sister
said-
Preston and
I
I
Vader.
think it's cool he's in
14th
London
or
and
something.
he's listening to it.
Wow.
Okay, that's off the Stooges box set there. This came out last year. It's the whole entire collection of reels that came out, or
Yikes.
hello, whole collection of reels that were the Funhouse album, eventually trimmed down to what you heard, and that was take number 22 of Loose, and preceded by a version of Down on the Street. There was a single version that never really, I guess, saw light of day.
Well, it came out, but not with the organ on it.
Right. What? So you say you just heard that recently? I
Well,
guess.
yeah, I just when it first came out, Ben Evans had an advanced copy, press copy on cassette, and he goes, "You want to hear something funny? You got it. Here, come to Royal Oak and get this tape. And as soon as you get home, play it." I thought it was great. I thought it was funny.
Right.
And I want to say happy birthday to my sister, and hi to Vader,
Hi,
Oh,
Vader.
okay. Right on.
and
Vader.
also hi to Preston.
Right on. Okay. Good. All the shout outs there, I guess. So that was some stuff there from the Funhouse album. You guys went to L.A., recorded the Funhouse, and
First time in L.A.
right.
It was
Good time.
Oh, the very first day I was there. I love movies, so we're right there in Hollywood at the good old Tropicana, where the Doors actually had their offices were at the Trop,
Right.
and the Great Duke's Diner, all these classic things. So I got a little stoned, and I thought I'd
Right.
take a walkabout. So I'm crossing the street, and I have the light. I'm crossing, but I'm like, wow, I'm in Hollywood.
Right.
And a limousine slams on its brakes and
Right.
misses me by 3 feet.
Right.
And the back window rolls down, and I hear this familiar voice go, "You blanking asshole." Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
And I'm going, "It's John Wayne." I'm going, "John Wayne called me an effing a-hole." Yay! First day in Hollywood, and John Wayne called me an effing a-hole.
Must be doing something right.
Well, apparently he must have, when he hit the brakes, they didn't wear seatbelts. He must have spilled his drink all over.
Yeah. There's formaldehyde. Yeah. So you guys came back from L.A. then, and you came back here, and things kind of started changing around here. Like Detroit started getting kind of weird, and the band started getting into some
Well, it
different
was
stuff.
the bad drugs were coming in.
Right.
And drugs were becoming serious business, and
Can I-
the drug scene
can I-
got ugly.
Can I ask you something real fast here too? Like, 'cause a lot of times people really glorify a lot of that crap, and I know that a lot of times people may even look up to like Iggy as far as something that was really glorified, and I know on a personal level, I mean that like drugs really affected you in a lot of ways. Like I mean, to the kids out there that think that kind of stuff is cool, I mean, we're not
It's
talking about
not.
smoking pot and that whole thing. We're talking about the serious crap. I mean, how would you say that?
I lost.
Not that we want to make a community speech,
well,
or
I know, but I lost everything I owned, and I saw my good friends, some die, and saw the end of a band that I loved disintegrate, and it's terrible. I mean, the bad heroin, pills, hard drugs. To really see somebody you love, either see them die, or slowly see them about to die. It's not cool.
Right
It's totally not cool.
Right on.
It takes away all the creative fun. It makes life unfun. You don't have fun when you have to depend on something other than food, air, and water to keep you going to do what you have to do and have a good time.
So this pretty much came in between, like the band and the music eventually too. I know you guys eventually, like the infamous story down at the Washington Bridge. Everybody crashed the truck into the bridge.
Well, it was my brother driving on Reds.
The Washington Street Bridge down by the Blind Pig we're talking about here. Yeah, right.
Well, we rented this truck, and stipulation was, of course, no one can drive it, but the guy, he got it from his father's rent-a-truck place. And those guys, I'm going, well, why would you take Reds and drive to the show and then play?
Right.
So my brother wanted to drive. He had no license, and they went under the bridge and didn't make it.
So that pretty much was like you guys destroyed our stuff. Now it's kind of like the end for a while.
Well, the equipment wasn't hurt, but
Right.
the truck was totaled.
Right.
We missed the show that night at the Easttown Theater. It was a Friday night. We did play on Saturday, but my brother was injured too badly to play, so we used Steve McKay on drums.
Wow.
So that afternoon, Steve came over with not a drum set. We had no drum set. He would just you know, tap out. As I played the tunes with the little practice amp, he'd just tap them out on his legs, you know.
Right.
So when he actually got on stage to play, he freaked. His arms become, you know, when you ever played the drums and you're stiff or you stiffen up, he just could not coordinate. And then they put the spotlight right on him. His face is beet red, and it's just the very first 10, 8 bars into the first song. It's totally floundering, and Iggy goes back and goes 1, 2, 3, and he finally goes, stop, Steve. And everybody stop. Oh my God! And then he goes 1, 2. So we did like 3 songs, but poor Steve was so red-faced and embarrassed. He wouldn't accept his pay. We made him take it. We made him take his money. Take it.
We got like a short amount of time. We might decide. I want to talk about all the other stuff you've done besides just Stooges there. But you guys kind of like kind of a breakup at one point, and then things kind of fell apart, and it transferred onto a whole different thing.
After
a lot of people already know this, so maybe we want to give it a short.
After Funhouse, it went on to Raw Power. What happened? Iggy just once again had to quit playing to clean up his act. So he roamed around. He happened to be in New York, bumming around to try to get something going. When he ran into David Bowie, who was supposedly a fan of his, Bowie took him to meet Tony DeFries. They had lunch. Tony signed him. The next day, he took them to CBS to Clive Davies, got him a deal with CBS Columbia, and then they went on to England. And I didn't even know any of this was happening until I ran into Iggy at a party on Morgan Sound on Morgan Road, the old SRC studio. He just casually comes up to me and goes, "Oh, by the way, I got a record deal, and James and I are going to England next week. Bye." Why you?
But then, of course, 3 months later.
Well, he calls up 3 months later, going, "Well, we auditioned 100 bass players and drummers, and no one's good enough. So, do you want to play?" Well, half they exhausted everything they could think of. Send for the 2 bombs.
So you guys went over and you did the sessions for.
And it was fun. Got to stay
Power.
for 9 months. Rehearsed, did that.
And you moved over to bass at this point. This is kind of a change for you.
Well, yeah.
You know?
Well, the idea was I'd go back eventually, but they couldn't find a bass player, and I always enjoyed playing bass, and Iggy liked my bass playing. So, well, yeah, I'll do that for a while, and I'm glad I did. I got to do it and get it documented, if you can hear it on the record.
Of course.
At times, if you can quite hear it.
How do you, and real briefly too, I mean, how do you feel about the mix in there? Because obviously that's been a big point of controversy for you guys.
The first time we heard the mix in L.A., we all hated it, and Iggy just says, "Well, it's this or another 6 months, so it's this." We always, there's no drums. The drums got messed with. A bass, plenty of guitar and vocals. But as Don Fleming said, the producer and used to be in the band Gumball, he goes, "Just wait till you hear that Iggy mix of Raw Power. You'll be going, boy, I love that Bowie mix of Raw Power." So
okay, let's hear something of the original mix real fast here. This is something. Suppose this was Shake. Sorry, it was Shake Appeal. Shake Appeal was originally Tight Pants.
Yes.
Right, and it was submitted originally or something like that. It was rejected or something like that.
We did actually a whole bunch of stuff we did. It got. I Got a Right and all that stuff, they got booted later. A lot of tunes didn't make it. Some of these were even developed right in the studio. During jamming.
Well, here we go. This is something that was originally Tight Pants. It developed the classic off the Stooges Raw Power LP, Shake Appeal.
I could put the headphones on. The headphones aren't working.
Hey-oh.
We're back on the air here. Ron Asheton's with us this evening. Scott Morgan's kicking it with us also. And we're talking about Ron's career in the Stooges, out of the Stooges, and that sort of thing. And so that was off of Raw Power, and soon after that, you guys did a few more shows. And
well, actually, it was fun being in England for 9 months. Had a great time. Also, having Angie Bowie help me spend some of David's money on expensive restaurants and night clubbing, and we wound up coming back to Ann Arbor to wait to go to L.A. And once we got to L.A., they just put us up, my brother and myself, at the Hyatt House, the Riot House on Sunset Strip. They pretty much kept us under wraps, but we rehearsed. We only played one show in England, the King's Cross Cinema, and
which
that
is
one
an
show at the
show
Ford,
also. I mean,
Ford Auditorium in Detroit.
And that's supposed to be the one show in England too is like a pretty infamous show for a lot of people that were pretty influenced by the whole show and gone on to.
I didn't realize those many the musicians that were there that night or anything.
Well, I don't think they were even all that musicians yet.
Yeah,
really.
well, yeah, sorry, they weren't them.
Right. How does that make you feel though? When you, I mean, because obviously a lot of that, you know, like the whole punk rock thing and stuff, and a lot, even to what's going on today, is all from a credit to your work and stuff. And how does it make you feel?
Poor. No,
besides the monetary reasons.
No, it does make me feel really good, and I'm glad that I got to do that, and that's great. It really is a satisfying feeling.
But does it make you? I mean, does it make you bitter though in a way, or does it make you? I mean, how do you? You know, do you think in the end it'll all right itself?
Yeah.
Like 200 years down the road, like Shakespeare was. Well, if Eddie Cooper, I think like Shakespeare never had a single thing.
Well, I just don't want to be Van Gogh.
Right.
Sold one painting his whole life. Then when he dies, his paintings go for $60 million.
Right.
Well, other than that monetary aspect, exactly.
Right.
But finally, people like Jay Mascis from Dinosaur Jr., the Monster Magnet dudes, they're starting to come out and offer some playing and some help, and maybe we can do this and we can do that because you were one of my guitar heroes, and they always mention my name in their interviews and stuff. So,
what did you start thinking when the Sex Pistols was first coming out and stuff, and that whole thing? And they were like, you know, I mean, you know, they're attributing a lot of this to you guys and that whole thing. They're covering Stooges songs, and that's.
Well, I say rock on, because if they get going and they say stuff, it always helps other people, and drags along the old guys like. The English rock stars did with the old blues musicians and the old rock musicians, really bringing Chuck Berry back, especially the old blues guys with the Yardbirds and stuff, and giving them a second shot around, which is very cool.
So after the Stooges finally broke up, you went on to do some other work for a while. You first started out with New Order, is that correct?
Oh yeah, I stayed in L.A. after Iggy quit for the third or fourth time.
Right.
And got Dennis Thompson out there, and we started the band The New Order, but we picked the wrong place, or not, well, actually kind of the wrong place also at the wrong time. It was all into disco, and that hard rock stuff, just no one was buying it.
Kind of like now the techno thing, right?
So we were in the wrong time period, once again, ahead or behind, it seems to be my problem. Either ahead or behind, I can't quite get in the groove. And we just ran that into the ground. Nobody wanted it, so we actually had I found out from Kim Fowley we had a possible deal, but the record company didn't like the guy who said he was our manager, and he wasn't really. And we had problems with the singer taking drugs once again, Quaaludes and Angel Dust,
rock and roll, and
blowing a big show where booking agents and Mercury Records were there to see us. But he blew that for us, and finally it just disintegrated and guys went away. So then I came back to Michigan, and I found this guy kept bugging me to jam with him, and it turned out to be a guy who was in Destroy All Monsters.
Kerry Lauren was his name?
Yes, and I met Niagara, and then that band was more of a freeform kind of noise and weird band. And I said, well, if I'm going to be in it, I want to be a rock band. Michael Davis just got out of jail, yay! So I got Michael to play bass, and got Rob King, who's a great rock drummer, and turned it into the more contemporary rock.
Because more people are probably familiar with the newer version of Destroy All Monsters. You had a couple of singles out at the time and stuff, but now people are starting to know a little more about the early Destroy All Monsters also and stuff. So it's kind of weird, like, you know, when you look at the two bands, they're kind of, I mean, even though there's somewhat of a similar.
Well, they used to play, the early ones was Mike Kelly, who became the performance artist and painter, you know Mike Kelly.
Of course.
He, that's why they're being known again, because he's very popular.
Right.
But they just played parties. They never really played.
Right.
They were a noise band that just got together a bunch of art students to have some extra fun. They couldn't really play. So he's out now doing stuff. I guess he does it in Japan. I'm going, not the rock version, but their version. It's like.
Let's hear some Destroy All Monsters right now. This is gonna be You're Gonna Die off. I think it was the A-side or B-side of a single. I can't remember now.
That was the B-side. Board was the A-side, and that was the B-side.
Okay, well, there it is then. Okay, and here's Destroy All Monsters.
Where's the CD?
What's that?
Probably another one that I've never seen.
Right. I know, everybody else is making money off the shit for the year. Man.
Oh yeah, I kind of like.
Oh, has that song set up?
Are you up to playing tonight?
It's a Destroy All Monsters song, but it's new.
Just come down to hang out for a bit.
Yeah.
You cutting out?
I'm gonna leave soon.
Has the Hydromatic record been
released in
North America yet?
This has actually a lot of songs.
Talk to him.
7 songs.
It's been distributed through Gideon.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, you want the first song.
Want
First
this one?
track. First track's the best one on the album. I wouldn't say that, but one of my favorites.
I didn't know what the.
I remember that.
That's a Destroy All Monsters song, but it's new.
Right. No, I know it is, but just the fade in was weird because I didn't know if it was actually happening.
This is our latest thing.
Oh yeah.
You can't really see the cover that well with the big old sticker on it. It's just the CDR I burned for in the studio.
We should have him sign the desk right next to Wayne.
Yeah, you should sign the desk. Yeah, do we have a marker?
I got.
Let's do the interview first, and then we'll
Okay.
Right.
we'll deal with everything later.
Yeah, if you want, I can get you a copy.
Yeah, that would be cool. I would. I like that. I always like listening to stuff. And if you want to talk to Scott before he splits, get him on. And
Yeah, let's get you guys talking again and stuff.
Well, he went to the bathroom. My old band did a.
I'm just trying to fit everything in as quick as possible. I know. Seriously, if you want to come back again, I'd love to.
I'd do it. I'd come back.
Seriously. If you want, well, are you busy in 2 weeks or?
Well, I'm going to be in Texas in 2 weeks.
That's when I come then. When you get back.
Yeah. South by Southwest.
Oh shit! When you come back then?
2 weeks and one.
I know. Time's
2 weeks
flying.
and 2 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I come back though,
report.
I have some Texas stories to tell.
Yeah.
Can I like ride on your
Rod, you should come down here and just DJ.
Well, I've done that before with when my friend Dan Gunning works here. We just sit and play tunes. And so we talk, and he go, "What do you want to listen to?" I go through. I bring a stack of stuff from home.
Anytime, man.
That'd be a good
You just play any kind of
We'd have to
stuff.
fly for that.
Seriously.
So I have some Texas stories to tell. I know I was embarrassing Dare. I'm going, when I get down there, I want to get the biggest cowboy hat, the biggest bottle of bourbon, and the biggest steak I can get.
There you go.
Can we say that one? Can we say that one on the air? Yeah, right.
But don't say you were embarrassed.
No, I said that to embarrass you, though.
No.
We're back on the air here. That was the Destroy All Monsters. You're gonna die.
Right off the bottle.
That was a B-side. I can't.
Yeah, B-side of our first single.
There you go. Right on.
Bored and You're Gonna Die or Die.
So Destroy All Monsters was around for a while. You guys.
A long time, actually. Pretty much rocking from late 77, 78. Finally broke up in 85 when I did a motion picture, The Carrier.
Where's Scott? I want to get
He's in the
Scott
bathroom.
Is he back? Because I want to get him talking about Days of the Chance and stuff.
Tell us about movies.
Well, that's what broke up the Destroy All Monsters.
Really?
Is I got into this movie thing. I auditioned for this part, and I was gone for 3 months, and everyone kind of got mad at me. And I came back, and everyone had kind of dispersed.
Right.
So that went on to the next phase, which was the Niagara had done this Dark Carnival thing. Was just a specialty band. They just do a couple, 3, 4 shows a year, and that became a regular band. So that was the next phase. Finally, they bugged me to play. And I said, "Well, I'll do it if you make it more regular. I'm going to try to do something with this." And we did, and that, once again, that didn't really take off. And now you're hearing it. Now that it's gone, people are starting to listen, maybe care a little bit more. Now that it's gone.
Now that the word is out.
Well, like Phil from Monster Magazine says, people are starting to get into Destroy All Monsters, the rock version now more.
Scott Morgan's back.
He wants to talk to you.
Yeah, we wanted to talk real fast. We were just talking about Destroy All Monsters, and we were talking about back in the day, because you were in Sonic's Rendezvous.
We used to play with
at
them.
the same time. You guys
open up a lot of times.
Second Chance a lot of. What were those days like for you guys all together and stuff? You know, probably some fun nights.
Oh yeah, I mean the music was good. We never really made any money, at least not Sonic's Rendezvous.
Well, that's not what it was about, right? Obviously.
No,
Yeah.
it was about the music.
Yeah.
We were Sonic's Rendezvous band was. When I look at the videos, we were like shoegazers, basically.
Really?
After watching the Stooges or the Five, or even the Rationals, we just sort of stood there and played. It's like we were in the studio or something.
That's amazing because it's so high energy too. You'd expect you guys to be flying around like the head behind the head and stuff.
Well, if we didn't open up for them, I'd always go and see them play. Because it was a favorite, of course. One of the favorite guys, really, my bro. And it was a great band.
All right.
I still sing some of the songs in the shower.
There you go. There you go. There's a rumor that you guys both shared a practice space at one point over the Big City Bakery. Is that a rumor or is that not true? I'm trying to get all the myths dispersed tonight.
Oh, you mean on Miller?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that was the Cult Hero space.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's what it was. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I used to go and hang out there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I heard a rumor that you guys had all.
It was a
jammed
nice
on-
place. Yeah, they
Right.
had that. Well, actually, we Destroy All Monsters rehearsed in their stage. They had that stage downstairs, and they lived upstairs on Miller and Spring.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was
okay.
great while
Yeah,
it
that's what it
lasted.
was.
Yeah. Oh, it was a great rehearsal space.
I don't think
But
the neighbors liked
Those
it.
guys, the Knights didn't like the rowdy dudes. So boing.
Right. What was so Ann Arbor at that point? This is like late '70s, punk had broken. You guys were doing your things. What was it like though? Because I know I've heard like different interviews before, so there's like a lot of folk music was going on. And
Seemed like things
You
are
know.
kind of starting to fall apart. People are
Right.
starting to drift away to go to LA or go to other towns. At least the crowd I hung in, or they just get so absorbed into Ann Arbor, they disappear. You know
Yeah.
how you tend to get absorbed into
Yeah.
Ann Arbor. Whatever happened to him? Well, I saw him. He's walking down on Washington Street 2 years ago. And then 5 years later, yeah, there he is. He's driving a cab. A lot of times I've seen a lot of old friends. They're cab drivers.
Yeah,
The
amazing.
scene
Like
I
that.
remember was that it was like the Second Chance, at least, was like cover bands.
Right.
And they would come in, they'd play Thursday through Sunday, and they'd make all the money.
That's right.
They'd make like $2,000 bucks. or
Muggsy.
something
Kind of like oh, I
It's
can't
true.
say it on the air.
Toby Red, Muggsy. I mean, they
Toby
make,
Red, which is Chad Smith's band. Chad Smith is the
And-
drummer
and-
for
Pete Bankert being in Muggsy.
Chili Peppers now.
Yeah.
Oh,
And Pete,
really?
Yeah, Pete Bankert being in Muggsy. They'd make like, Pete's going, I was making like $1,000 a week, man. I'm like, what? I'd be making $100 a month, man.
And, and probably Stooges, but I know Sonic Band, we'd be lucky to make $200, like, on a Tuesday or something like that.
Well, we get a Carb would give us a Monday night, and usually we'd go overboard with opening acts, and PAs sometimes would be very expensive. So we'd make some money, but after doling out the, $350 to the PA, paying your roadies, whatever, paying the opening band $100 a piece or whatever, you wind up with a couple $100.
So you guys were like, you guys weren't even like doing this like big, amazing like you got like you guys are like huge or something. You were just kind of like basically
Surviving.
Monday, Tuesday nights surviving.
It paid the rent in my apartment.
And that's pretty amazing.
Kept me in beer and cigarettes.
You guys have both been in bands, at early points and then later points as also where now it's being discovered or whatever and stuff. I mean, by the time that you would think that like, guys like us, we're in our 30s, whatever, or young 20s to 30s. So we hear it now. We're like, God, it must have been like fucking huge back then and stuff. And obviously, but you're telling me now that you guys are playing Monday, Tuesday nights.
Yeah.
Wow.
No respect.
No respect.
No
Yeah,
respect.
Muggsy gets Friday and Saturday nights.
Something's never changed.
Doesn't that sound familiar?
And where's
Something's never changed
Sunday
this time.
night or something like that.
Well, Pete's going, I'm making $1,000 this weekend.
And where's
Wow.
Muggsy now?
Yeah. Well, they were playing covers. They were
Mm.
playing
Yeah.
exactly what was on the radio at the time.
Yep.
Kind of like now.
And we were doing original tunes, and
They would throw in a couple originals, just so they could say that they were a real band, But,
Kind of like now.
they weren't that great, and they sounded like the covers, and,
Right.
So they do weddings and bar mitzvahs now?
Alright.
I don't know where they are now.
So why do you, I've got two musicians in this room. Now, again, I hate saying it in front of you guys and all, but I got two musicians in this room that have the strongest integrity of any musician I've met, in my entire lifetime. Neither one of you guys have ever sold out at all in any extreme at all. You've both been true to your form. Even now, you're still doing something that's true to heart.
I'll use Wayne Kramer's line.
Right.
I put it in a song, but
Right.
we tried to sell out. Nobody was buying. Nobody was buying.
Yeah.
hey, I jam with the Backstreet Boys now if they pay me, man.
Yeah, right. But still, though, I mean, even a lot of stuff. I mean, you could have changed the whole thing. I mean, like obviously, you still kept to some of the original form. You've never gone overboard and tried to cut off your past, to deny your past, and just go bubblegum.
Can't do it.
Goes against the grain for me.
Yeah,
Right.
it's just like that robot in Forbidden Planet. It's built in. I'll self-destruct if I go against my orders.
Right on.
Put in what's inside of me.
Beautiful thing, man. Beautiful thing. Let's hear a project right now, real fast. This is a new race. This is something you did with someone you worked with before, obviously.
Dennis Tech.
Dennis Tech. Yeah.
Dennis Tech.
Dennis Tech.
Dennis
We sat
Thompson.
in. Yeah. Dennis Tech sat in with the Rendezvous Band reunion, the Magic Stick, a couple years
Yeah,
ago.
as a matter of fact, Dennis Thompson played with us when we did Dodge, Maine a few years ago.
Dennis Thompson. Yep. And
Two of my favorites.
that was an amazing show. That moved down Novi, yeah.
The
tables that
library.
night.
The library.
The library.
The library
Love
has
that
never
show.
been the same since.
Love that show.
Never will be again either.
So you did some Dennis Tech, who was in Radio Bourbon. You did a project with him and a couple of guys from that and Des Thompson. New Race.
He asked for my brother, but my brother didn't go, so Thompson was glad to go.
Mhm.
Thompson and I went down under, and it was Dennis Tech, Rob Younger, and Warwick Gilbert who played bass.
Right on.
And then Chris Maswak would come and do a couple shows, and Pip Hoyle, who played keyboards, when he wasn't a doctor, and he was a doctor also down there, he would come and do a couple shows.
Wow.
So I had a great time. Love Australia. If you can go, go. It's great.
Well, here's some music here. It's a partial Australian for it's a New Race, First and Last, and we're gonna hear a Destroy All Monsters cover, November 22nd next.
Not the one that I will play here.
Let's come down.
Great, a different guy.
Oh yeah, man, you were the one who played it with Mike Davis on that European tour with Empty Set.
Then we go head down.
Yeah.
Huh?
That's
Head
a
down
great
the old
guy.
blind pony.
Yeah, I might get out for a drink after here myself, man.
He actually, him and his wife performed. Yeah. Yep. Crazy, huh?
Okay, so we'll come up in 30 seconds. I'm gonna play. I got 9 minutes and a half material and 17 minutes of the show. So I'm gonna play a Hollow. I'm gonna end it with Dead End Street. Okay. Yeah. Or would you rather play something else off?
No, you can do that.
Is that cool with you? And we'll talk a little bit more about what's coming up the next couple weeks for you and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, mullet. You see that mullet? Look at that.
Well, he's only got a couple minutes.
He's got to go to the barber and tell him.
When you come back, though.
Stop looking like
When
an
you come back,
asshole.
seriously.
With the biggest cowboy hat, the biggest cowboy hat, and the
Why do you
biggest
tell
steak
them
you've
about your
ever
big
seen.
cowboy hat?
With the biggest cowboy hat. Yeah. There we go. That's a New Race for you there. Crying Sun, the first and the last, and then before that you heard November 22nd, 1963, cover of Destroy All Monsters tune. It's 11:45. We're kind of wrap things up here real fast. We only got 15 minutes left of the show, and our guest this evening has been Ron Asheton, who has played in many different bands over the years: New Race, Destroy All Monsters, and the Stooges, to name a few. And now, Ron's here with us tonight, and once again, thanks for coming down.
My pleasure.
And we're also now going to talk about some of the stuff you've been doing recently. Now, we're going to play a couple things coming up here. One thing, you were involved in the Wild Rats for the Velvet Goldmine movie.
Mm-hmm.
You want to talk about that for a little bit?
Well, I got a call from Don Fleming. He had produced the Destroy All, or Dark Carnival CD. And he goes, well, gee, I put together this band. I got this job to do like a Stooge-type band for this movie, Velvet Goldmine. I've got Mike Watt, and I've got Thurston Moore and Steve Shelley. We were looking for a Ron Asheton-type guitar player. And then he went, duh, why don't I ask Ron? He's not doing anything. So the powers that be said it was cool. So I went and did a couple songs for the record. But in the meantime, he took good advantage of the time. And we just ran tape on a bunch of stuff. And I liked the lineup so well, I kept saying, you got to bug the record company to, let's make a record. So sure enough, a year later, we went back and did a whole album's worth of stuff with the same lineup of guys, plus Sean Lennon, John Lennon's son. He played some electronics. We did some jams, so we filled up 52 reels of tape.
Right on, right on.
So there's enough to make 3 records.
Do you think we'll see this come light of
Well,
day?
supposedly this is going to come out on Thurston Moore's label, Static Peace.
Static Peace, right on.
And was waiting any time. I mean, he's been so busy. Apparently, it's in the process of getting put together now.
How did you feel about the Velvet Goldmine? Because I know a lot of people were kind of like, were hoping it was going to be more of a Stooges story, maybe a little more realistic, and it's kind of like a whole fantasy thing.
Well, that's what Todd Haynes wanted, and that's the kind of stuff Todd directs. But I thought he chose well in the cast, and there were moments that were, frightfully close to reality. We're seeing an actress like who played supposedly Angie Bowie. A lot of those things actually did happen. Of course, he had to throw it in fantasy, not to get sued or whatever. So,
right on.
You gotta. I liked it. I went and saw it at Tribeca Studios, which is Robert De Niro and Scorsese's.
Oh, really?
Private, big, huge chairs. And I'm sitting next to this guy, and I'm going, gee, I don't want to sit next to anybody. I want to watch this by myself. So I get up and move from this guy, and he kind of looks at me like, oh, hey, dude. It was Mark from the, what's that band?
Mike D. Beastie Boys.
From the Beastie Boys.
Oh, right, yeah, Mike D. Beastie Boys.
Oh, gee, sorry, man. He goes, you run it? Did I stink or something? He got up and moved away from me. So I said, no, I didn't. I didn't know who you were, and I just like to be by myself. And because Mike Watt's right behind me, he goes, hey, that didn't happen. So I go, get away for a while a little bit too.
Right on. So we got some of this wild rat stuff. I want to talk one thing also. You also did some movies at some point. I want to bring you back another time to talk about this. But just so people know, if they see it on TV, like you're in
Mosquito.
Mosquito.
They show it on USA at the late night of the Saturday afternoon movies.
Right.
Gunner, you see, get my name in the TV guy.
Right.
I've
seen it actually. Yeah.
So Leatherface and Stooge.
Right.
So that's our joke. I talk to Gunner all the time.
So if you ever see Mosquito on TV, like sit down and watch it. It also has Mike Hart and Thrall in it.
Mike Hart's in it. And Ketty Mungwamp's in it too.
Right on.
And Margaret from the Doll Rise.
And Margaret from the Doll Rise is naked in it.
I didn't realize that. She told me that the other day. I didn't know about that. Well, let's hear some wild rat stuff. We'll hear one other thing afterwards. We'll be right back with Ron Asheton here. So wrap this up here. This is Hollow.
What movie are you talking about?
Mosquito. I remember when they were making
I got her the job because she would take her clothes off, so she was naked in Mosquito.
How long ago did you make that?
1993.
We're playing with the doll rods.
93.
Yeah.
She doesn't mind. You saw you naked in Mosquito.
She's hilarious.
Have you seen the movie? Oh, it's been on TV like a few times on USA Network every once in a while. I was watching it one day. I'm like, what the fuck is this shit?
You have to see it uncut, so you see how.
Yeah. I've never seen that cut version. Yeah.
And she goes, I'll do the naked, but no quim. So when she turns over, her cheeks over. You can see her bunghole. So we slowed it down.
Brian Eyes winking out.
All the crew guys are putting it on video, slowing it down. Slow, then pause, trying to get a print off of it. I'm going, dudes, man.
God. Oh, Lord. That's funny. Yeah, that is classic, though. That's a classic movie, though. It's cool.
Well, see, I'm getting a good practice so I don't swear on the air.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm the one who swore tonight.
Once you start, it's hard to just make voice.
John Engler. As always, man. Did I swear when Engler was on? I did an interview with John Engler one time.
Here?
No. That son of a bitch I fucking killed again in this place.
After you got him to say, get the ID, you said, I got it, I fucking got it. And you immediately cut the mic, because I was listening.
I said it on the air?
Yeah, you said it on the air, because I was sitting in the computer lab, like, doing some homework, and I hear it, and I just burst out laughing. I'm like, yeah.
I wish I had the card machine working. I've got an idea with John Engler. He's like, hello, is this on the air? Hello.
Dude, they were right there on the disc.
Is it on here?
It's not on the ID disc. Look right there, the yellow disc. Studio copy. There should be one.
No, it was done afterwards, actually.
Oh fuck.
Yeah, it was done afterwards. Oh, I made that fucker sweat. Man.
Yeah, you got England good, dude.
That guy needs to bleed on his sweat.
Did you ever get audited from that?
Audited?
Yeah,
I don't know what you call that, but I got harassed. Well, that's the last time I fucked with him.
Really?
Yeah.
You got harassed after that?
Oh, you didn't know about that shit? No, I got a. When I was, it was right after I moved out of Hoover Street, and Richard Glenn was still living there, and I used to get a phone call with a piece of mail every single week from the state of Michigan saying I owe them all these taxes. And so eventually I paid the taxes off because I was like, I probably owe it, And then they kept sending stuff to me. And I called them finally when I was living I'm in Massachusetts at this point. And they're like, some guy named John Silver has the same social security number, same birthday, and same address as you. I'm like, John Silver, huh? I'm talking to some woman that's worked for the state of Michigan. She said that something like that wouldn't be out of the ordinary for him to do.
Really?
Yeah. Shit, what am I on?
That's still it.
Yeah, no, I was trying to figure out which one had the street one. Yeah, I'll make this one. Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? I'll end it with the empty street. That's what we'll do like that.
Yeah.
So we got 45. I don't know why I keep on grabbing the headphones.
Do those headphones work now, or are they buzzy to hell?
They sound like somebody took a shit in them, right?
Yeah, that's how they were last night when I was doing my show. It was like complete distortion.
I don't mind it when I'm doing the noise show, but I'm trying to hear myself.
Yeah, I was at the show.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh yeah.
I had to go and see.
So when did you come up and see me?
No, I was show, man. I hung out with him in New York. We played, went out nightclub.
Why don't you come down before that?
I really like Matt.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Were you around?
Yeah, I never. They seem like good guys, but I never got to talk to them.
You should be here. That would be the Thursday before the show.
The day before the show, 15th. Show? Yeah. Plan on it.
Yeah.
Plan on it. Come on in.
Give me a call.
Oh, I will. I promise you.
Got it. My band.
All right, we're back on the air. If you're not talking on the air, you're just talking to yourselves and conversation in the hallway. I'd like to thank Scott Morgan for coming in, sitting with us. He's on his way out the door here. I think he's going out for a stiff one.
He's going out for a splash.
Yeah, and I think I might be down there in a couple minutes at the watering hole myself, so save me some grass there. And I'd also like to thank Dara, because Dara really helped a lot with hooking us up there.
Dara.
So,
You mean Dara?
Dara. I don't know your damn name. I just work with you.
Dara.
Dara. Sorry. Just don't call me Rastafari, I guess. So and everybody else in the studio for hanging out and keeping things in an orderly fashion and stuff. But most of all, I'd like to thank Ron, one of my biggest heroes and a great guest.
Thank you. I had a good time, and like I said, I'll be back. When I come back from Texas,
Yeah.
I'll bring you the biggest cowboy hat, the biggest and the biggest steak you've ever seen in your life.
That's right. That's right. Give us some stories. You're going down to South by Southwest?
Yeah,
Is that the deal?
to play with Jay Mascis and the Fog. I'm in.
And Mike Watt.
Right on. And Mike Watt and the whole
Fog
deal.
featuring Mike Watt.
So you go down, are you doing that show? Are you doing any other stuff down south? What's
No, but
happening?
hopefully something good will come of it. I might go on tour and play more shows with them.
Right.
And hopefully hook something up so I can get out there and play.
Because you just did this thing, refresh people's memory. You did this thing at the Pig a few months back there where you did Jay Mascis came to town with Mike Watt and all that, and then you came and stepped in for some songs, and it was really shredding. It was really a great time. And so you formed a little coalition again after this. So it's so much fun. Let's go do this full time.
And they called me up. I said, hey, anytime you want to play. And they called up and says, how would you like to come to Texas? Watt calls me up.
Okay. Well, shit, man. Sounds good, man.
Okay, things get a popping, get on the road again, and I'll be back.
The way it should be. The way it should be. Well, good luck in Texas.
All right, thank you.
And like I said, come on back when you're back and give us the
Tell you
lowdown.
some Texas stories.
And once again, thank you so much, man. It's been
my pleasure. I had a good
great,
time,
man. It's really great to have you down there.
Thank you, John.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ron Asheton, ladies and gentlemen.
Good night, Anna.
Yeah, and we're gonna play one more track here. This is on the musicblitz.com CD that just came out just as recently. And this is Ron's tune called Dead End Street. Thank you very much for listening, and as always, just keep it real, kids, right? I'll be back on 2 weeks. I think, Scotty, you gonna be on? You coming down here?
Yeah, I'll make it 15th, I think it is.
Yeah, Sky's gonna get on the 15th. I'll be back on in 2 weeks. And as always, thank you very much, and it's always a pleasure to be with you folks. I treasure it more than you possibly
I'm going to
imagine.
play with going to Europe with Tech.
You are? Oh, you're going to go? I talked to
Yeah.
him about him.
Yeah. We're going to France and Italy.
Yeah.
Oh,
cool.
Shit! You know what I didn't do?
What?
I didn't do one thing.
Wait, do
I
it.
gotta do.
Yeah, you gotta get back on the air real quick.
Well, I did do one thing. I just saw it. I neglected to do one thing. I'm sorry to startle everybody in the room here real fast.
What happened?
But,
Chinese fire drill.
I forgot to do one thing. Let's start the song over here in a second. But Ron, it's one thing also we wanted to recognize you tonight, as well as the fact that you've come down to a great, gracious guest with us and all of that. And besides being a talented musician,
Summons?
Summons. We need you to court Monday morning. But for the corruption of the youth of America, we're declaring you a saint in the Sacred Orthodox Church of the Holy Land of Rock and Roll this evening here. Saint Ron Asheton, ladies and gentlemen. And
all right, I appreciate that. I'll frame it, put it on the wall.
Thank you very much, Ron.
Thank you.
Let's get back to the rock and roll. I'm sorry, I almost forgot about that, kids.
Get a shot of it.
Here we go. Empty street here. Dead end street. Dead end street.
Empty dead end.
Empty dead end street. Sad street. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So we did.
I might see you guys down in a few minutes.
I want a picture of you.
Yes.
Before I go.
Right on. There we go. Cool.
See ya.
Thanks for stopping in.
Good seeing you.
Kathleen, I'll give you a call and remind you about that.
We need your, hey, get a hold of me when you get back so we can. John, we should have Ron do an ID.
Yeah, if you guys can find the other mini disc.
Get his mini disc recorder. His mini disc recorder.
At the top of the hour. I got.
Yeah. Okay.
So great.
Yeah, let her come into her thing here, kids.
Is this my tape?
Sorry.
My CD. Where's the other
This
one?
is your CD. That's Ron's. That's yours. That's Station.
Who's playing drums on this? Is this like everything on
Larry
this?
Steele.
Okay.
I played everything with the drums.
Oh, really? So you're singing everything?
LJ Steele. I played the bass, rhythm guitar, lead guitar.
John, if you could find my other.
What am I saying?
You're the guy that lost
We're
it.
saying with it. I didn't lose shit, man. I was it's around. Somebody will find it.
I don't know where it is.
Well, that's the mini disc. If you want to
It's
do.
got to be in Prod B, dude. I guarantee you.
Right on.
Hey, Ron. Actually,
I got to tell the truth. Who did that for me?
before he played his first song, can we just read something on the air real fast?
Ron, can I get a picture of you holding that second?
Oh, yeah.
John, come over here.
Hold on a second. He's gonna write down an ID.
Actually, just give me a call when you're ready.
Well, do you have your first song?
No.
Do you want me to just play your first song?
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
No, I'm all set. I was just gonna do it.
Well, she's kind of mortified because she did a show and she's got to do another show.
What song are you gonna play?
I don't know. The longest track on there.
Scott, bring this. Scott's
No, that
Actually,
came
no,
off
it's
the
ours.
show.
It's our copy. You got it right here in the local section.
Oh wait, this is your.
Oh yeah, what is it?
That's the Wild Rats one. I'm sorry.
I got the thing.
Yeah, you've got the thing there.
We have the Amish CD.
How's it going?
It's going.
Camera. Get a nice break.
Yeah, I got work done.
Schoolwork or something.
Don't want to lose that. It's the only one I got.
Oh, speaking of which, is it gonna be like regular fundraiser, like if we want to donate?
Well, I played the shit out of it.
Mazinga.
Right.
Donate.
When I
Okay.
when I give you the cue,
It's like a band challenge to all the other local bands to try and.
just read. This is Ron Ashton. This is WCBN FM.
Yeah, I should.
So we can tape it later and use it for the station.
I don't. I just call in. I want it.
Awesome.
Because I sit and listen to CBN all day at work, so. And I got this idea one year. It's like no bands like CBN plays on Mazinga a lot, so like we owe CBN like big time.
A year ago.
No, seriously.
Wow, really?
So
A year ago.
I said, fuck it, we're gonna donate a bunch of money. So we donated like $100 and we put out a challenge for all the other local bands because they play Point Picasso and all that other stuff, you know. Like, everybody should donate because without it, you're not gonna get any radio.
Yeah.
We had
Not like it's payola, but you know what I mean? No, it's like a tribute, you know. And shit, if it wasn't for CBN, I wouldn't know about the Laughing Hyenas or like half the good punk stuff that I got into. And all the like, you know.
So it took
I'm not really a big indie rock fan, but the good indie rock stuff I've heard
was done in June.
You should come on air and do a spiel or something. That was a good spiel.
Yeah, I did a spiel.
I swear I'll be out of
Yeah, Thursday with Sarah. I know.
So I'm hoping
Should come down. What's your name again?
I'm Cindy.
Cindy.
Yeah.
Chris.
I was actually in New York.
Always
with
looking
Sarah.
forward
Oh, really?
to that. Try to get somebody else.
Is it your new race?
No, this is that's Rob's, I think.
Is that Rob's? Oh yeah, it's Rob's. Yeah.
It's got that race car on the
Hey
cover.
Chewy, where you at? Rob. Yeah, that's the CD I saw in Chicago.
Yeah.
It's just a version of this. It's like a bootleg version of this.
This is the one that got stolen out of my car.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. The only version of New Race I have now is the one Ron hooked me up with. And I like this one because it has Set TV on it.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite too.
That's the same thing. Also got the import version of the first Radio Birdman album has that too.
The End Zone, Lone in the End Zone kicks ass too.
Yeah, I got the
Here, Rob, this goes in your new race.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Rob. You can put that in there, man.
Yeah, that's it. Same record, but
It's on the chair.
Oh, okay. Can you hand me that race car or put this in there?
It's cool. It's cool. It's cool.
Thanks.
Pandemonium at CBN.
Oh, I'm pro.
You gotta get a big group photo. What's that?
Don't want these
Yeah.
long.
30 seconds.
You gotta get a big group photo.
30 seconds is enough time to roll a cigarette.
Well, actually, I wanted Ron to sign some of my stuff. This is
Mine?
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
And I feel like I should play all like
No, it's all right.
loud songs.
We're gonna do this.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
This is Ron Ashton, and you're listening to WCBN FM, Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Beautiful.
Perfect.
Beautiful. Thank you, Ron.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much for everything, Ron.
I will be back. Who said they wanted a picture? Take a picture of this thing. And
Yeah. Right here.
You and John.
You made it. Start pulling shit because I didn't. Start pulling shit because I didn't.
No, I'd be cool right behind there. Just gonna stand right by.
So she can do her show, okay? We'll take care of all that.
Rob, here's your CDs, dude.
I want to have Ryan sign a couple of my things, too.
These are yours, right?
Yeah, you should have left it by my shit over there.
Oh, she picked them up because she
cool,
didn't
Put it on the chair.
Okay.
My jacket's over there.
You went to go pick it up. I don't know what it was.
Is that everything of ours over there, pretty much?
let's see where he went.
I don't know. I
We'll move out here.
right in front of the.
Yeah, let's move out of here.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. We'll get the camera.
Oh yeah, that's not a problem.
Is it turned off?
It don't matter, does it?
Well, I guess not.
Pure tape.
Yeah.